Alright? Yeah.
Welcome to another edition of MIW. Got the D-Man here, and I'm glad you could join me today. I'm going to talk about raising kids to be men in a society that is seemingly becoming more and more dominated by women. Our men, or young men and children, are being taught to seek the approval of women. And we all know how that works out when we get older, because no woman wants a man that's seeking her approval unless she's going to use him as a beta provider, as the term goes. So it's important as a man, if you're a father, to raise your kids up to be a dominant male. Oh, now some women hear that word dominant and they think, oh, they want to control. It's not about controlling, it's about leading the relationship. Contrary to what women may tell you, women don't want to lead the relationship. And if they are allowed to lead the relationship, they will soon be leading their way right out of your life with your kids. That's just the way it goes. Women don't really know what they want. I can't say that 100% of them don't know what they want, but most of them don't. Maybe less than 1% actually understand themselves or do enough introspection to really look at what motivates them to make their decisions. I was just listening to a woman, she's supposedly a relationship expert, Adrena, I think is her name. Can't remember her last name. Some of you might know who I'm talking about. And she's speaking about when she had this affair on her 17-year boyfriend or husband. They have a child together. And she doesn't even really understand why she did it. Now, this is an expert on relationships, but she's telling you she doesn't understand why she does what she does. Apparently, she had run around on her boyfriend or husband, whichever it is, off and on for years. Now, she doesn't come out and say that. She does admit she had 2 abortions. Now, whether you're pro-abortion or anti-abortion, that's not the point here. The point is that she just decided that she didn't want to have them kids. So she just got rid of them. One of them was his. The other one, I don't know if it was one she had an affair with, or maybe she didn't know who the father was. I really don't know. But all through the video podcast, she talks about that she doesn't understand really why she did that. For one example, when she started running around on him, or at least admitted she started running around on him 4 years before they split up. And he found out, or she told him, I don't know, after 4 years. So he decided, or she decided, or they decided to have an open relationship. Okay, as soon as he started having this affair or relationship with a woman from Germany, she got jealous. She admitted she got jealous. And anyway, they got back together because she was losing him. Now, when she was with him and everything was calm and stable, she was having this affair. She was monkey branching or looking for someone else, having these experiences, and she was an adventurous woman. But at the beginning of the video, she talks about being shy and indicated she was more introverted. But then later, she's saying when she's trying to justify her actions of lying and cheating on her boyfriend or husband, then she's saying that she's adventurous and she was on her journey and all these things. She's dressing up. Really what she's doing is just dressing up the fact that she lied, she cheated, she was not a good mate. She was not a good woman for her man, basically. She can do whatever she wants to, of course, but in a relationship, we have certain rules, or you should have anyway, and the rules in their relationship apparently was that they were monogamous. Otherwise, why would she have kept that from her husband? But she did. So when he finds this other woman and he starts really having a good time with her and relating to her and getting intimate with her, all of a sudden she wants him back. So long story, they get back together, everything calms down and starts smoothing out, and then she rekindles the affair with the guy that she was with. It was actually his best friend, or one of his good friends. She rekindles that affair and starts that up again, and she even says, I don't know why I did it. Well, the reason she went back to him is because all of a sudden she had competition anxiety. Okay, and then he got back together with her, and then she felt secure. Everything was comfortable. She felt safe enough to go out and start a relationship up with someone else again. And she didn't tell him either. So she kept that from him because she wanted to keep him as the security, just in case this didn't work out or whatever her goal was. But even herself admits she didn't know why. After a year, when they got back together, after they both had other people, that she wanted to start running around. She didn't understand why. So, right there, women tell you they don't even understand why they do what they do in relationships. So, if you're not leading and she is swayed and moved and directed by her emotions, and which she doesn't even understand. So, which one would you rather have for a leader? The person who is swayed and directed by their emotions, who is actually controlled by their emotions, or the one who is aware of their emotions, they feel their emotions, but they use logic to make decisions and understanding and facts? Well, I think we both know which one you would rather have leading you. So basically, it comes down to men needing to use their logical, analytical mind to lead the relationship. But more and more in these days, young men are taught to feel and to express their femininity. Now we have both sides. We have a feminine and a masculine side, of course. But you cannot lead as a man with your feminine side. Start sharing your emotions with your girlfriend, how you feel. Maybe you're afraid you're going to lose your job or you don't know if you can support her. I've done that. And I've done it the other way too, where I didn't share with them how I felt and I remained solid as a rock and I didn't need them. Well, I've always known I never needed a girl, but when you start sharing your emotions with a girl, how you feel about everything, they take that as a weakness. Now they don't understand this. They will even tell you something like, "Well, I love you, but I'm not in love with you," or "I don't know why I don't treat you like I used to. You deserve to be treated better." They don't even know why they do it. But I know why they do it. And if you don't know why they do it, you need to find out because you need to understand the dynamics of relationships before you can have a good one. Now, back to raising your boys, how do you think they're going to, how do you think, especially in the United States, they're going to be able to deal with women, relationships, heartbreak, and things like this if they don't have the tools or understand how relationships and how women really are? Now, I'm not saying women are bad or good. Women are just the way they are. Just like as us men, we have certain things we're attracted to young, fertile women. I don't care. I'm 60 years old. The last girl I went out with for about a year and a half, she's 20 years old now. A lot of women would try to shame me for that. I don't care. Every man is attracted to younger, fertile women. Some guys like older, but in general, it's a biological thing because we want to reproduce. And men want to reproduce until they're dead. That's just how we are. Now, a lot of women don't like that. They want to shame you for being a man. So you need to raise your children to be proud of their masculinity because they're men. We've been men for thousands and tens of thousands of years. And I had some noise in the background there. And we're not going to change overnight. And I don't think we should change just because women's liberation started in the 60s. And they want us to be different. Well, this has worked for tens of thousands of years. The men are the ones that made this country. The men are the ones that go out and fight the wars. What do we have, like less than 1% of women who actually fight in the wars? What, the women are going to protect us? I don't think so. If the crap hits the fan in the United States here and we go to a war, especially if we have a land invasion, the women are going to be looking for men and they're not going to want them to be feminine. They're not going to want them to show their emotions. They're not going to want them to be more open and honest about how they feel. I'll guarantee you. They don't give a crap how you feel. They give a crap about what you can do for them, how you can protect them, how you can provide for them, and how you can make them feel. And these are all things we need to teach our children. Men, I have 5 boys and 1 daughter. My daughter, I say, you know what? Go ahead and get married. There's a great advantage for you. My 5 boys do not marry in the U.S. because the divorce laws are definitely not friendly for you. It's a lose-lose situation for you. For my daughter, it's a win-win. She has nothing to lose. The man has everything to lose. I still believe in the idea of marriage, just not the legal aspect of it here in the U.S. and some of the other more modernized countries. The problem is women want to be equal until divorce court, and then all of a sudden they can't make it without the man's help. Doesn't make sense to me, but that's the way it is. Okay, and they can really run you through the ringer and break your. I have lost everything twice because I got into those situations. I still believed at that time in the idealistic idea of love, Disneyland, and simple things like that, that we've been programmed to believe from the time we were born. And back to the deal too with the schools. Most of the teachers in schools now are women. So the children are being raised up to seek the approval of women, and if they don't do what the women tell them to, they're not good boys, or they're bad. They're never going to amount to anything. They're never going to find a good job. I don't want my children to find a good job. What's a job? Just over broke. Okay, there are some good jobs out there that are better than just over broke. But the point being, I don't want them to be like everybody else. Okay, I want them to be what they want to be, to excel in what they want to excel in. And if school has nothing to do with it, then what is the point in going? Okay, but if it does, then go. Go to college. They're still trying to sell the idea that college is a one-way ticket to success. I tell you what it is. It's a one-way ticket to hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and then you end up getting a $50,000 or $60,000 a year job. I'm a high school dropout, and I guarantee you, I make a hell of a lot more than that. I'm in the top 15 to 20% of earners in the world. Okay, and I did not graduate high school, but I believe in education. I believe in the education up until about the 8th grade. After that, you need to be doing something productive. Okay, I have been educating myself for the past 30 years, reading, studying, listening to speakers. I spend a lot of time at that on something I want to do and to be that can help other people, and the value I provide to other people comes back to me. They never teach you these things in school. They teach you to go out and get a job. They don't teach you to go out and give value, that you have to plant the seed before you can reap a harvest, that you have to put wood in the stove before you can get a fire. Okay, these you have to do first. The more value you provide to the world, the more of a high value man you are, the more women that will want to be with you, the more money you will make, and the better your life will be. And it's not that hard to be a high value man. It's not that hard to be in the top 20%. Hell, it's not that hard to be in the top 5% if you live in a westernized modern world. There are so many opportunities to succeed, to become wealthy, to become rich, whatever you want to be. You just have to get off your butt, get out of the house, and do something. Take some action. Write down your plan. And to relate that back to women and relationships, a woman wants to be with a man who all women want to be with, and a man who other men want to be like. And what kind of a man is that? That is a high status male. And a high status male is a man who puts his mission, his goals first and foremost. Women are second or third in his life. And that's what a woman wants. She doesn't want to be your focus. Okay? To her, it makes her feel like she's smothered. So even if she isn't your focus and she thinks she is, I've experienced that, then she'll feel smothered. Some women can't accept a lot of love because they grew up without fathers. They don't know how to relate to men. Many girls and boys are raised up without fathers. The boys don't know how to be men, and the girls don't know how to have a relationship with a man because there was never a man in the house. And the other part of the situation is where there is a man in the house nowadays, they become so, how do I say it without violating YouTube? They become so womanized that they don't act like a man. They don't lead the household. They allow the woman to lead. Go to the mall, go to the store. You'll see the man walking behind, pushing the cart, the woman leading the way with the kid. He may even be holding the kid's hand. He's just kind of a beat down man. They're both dressed poorly and they're walking through loading up the cart of groceries. We live in such an abundant land that most people eat too much. I know it's like 70% of the population is overweight. Where I live, it's probably a little more than that, and they're very underdressed. They don't dress nice. It's, compared to when I was a kid, it's pretty sad. Even at the schools where my children go to school, I have a difficult time telling the difference between the teachers and the students. So if you're not teaching your kids another way, they're going to follow the crowd. They're going to do what everybody else does. They're going to dress poorly. They're going to supplicate to women. They're going to seek their approval. And what you will see that when they get older from that type of behavior is them going through relationships, getting their heart broken. Some of these kids are offing themselves. For teenagers, young men, I don't like teenager, the word, young men are 4 times more likely to kill themselves than women. Young women are 4 times more likely to try to commit suicide but don't get the job done. So that tells me that the women are trying more for attention, but the boys get the job done because they're hurting so bad. And usually it's because some girl dumped them and they don't know how to deal with it. They don't understand because they've treated her well. They've given her everything and did everything for her that they've heard that you're supposed to be a good man. And they've heard that from the prerogative of a woman, from the side of a woman, and never take advice about dating from a woman. Because if you do, you'll end up heartbroken and thinking, what the heck's going on? So with that being said, I would recommend that you read Rollo Tomasi's book, Rational Male, Mode 1 by Roger Allen Curry. And there's many great speakers on YouTube. There's one called Jonathan at In Modern Life Dating, Myron Gaines, Rich Cooper. Now, the first time you listen to these guys, you may think, oh, it's not that way. You're going to have a hard time accepting it. But if you've had enough experience with women in life like I have, you'll understand. You just have to keep an open mind. You'll understand why what they tell you is the way it is. We only have women to work with as they are, and we are as we are, and we have ourselves to work with as male human beings. But you can mold that, and you can mold the relationship you want if you're strong enough to be a leader. But it takes practice, and if you never had a good male role model, now is a great opportune time. These guys offer programs. You can listen to their YouTube videos for free. But you have to be willing to get over the idea of this fairy tale happily ever after life. That's what kills young men. They're dismayed. They're disenchanted. They just can't believe it when they do everything they're supposed to, and they may do it 2 or 3 times. I did that later on in my years. After I became 30, I tried to live the way that the society tells I was the good husband and the good father. They even said that to me right before they left. And it just didn't work. And I'm like, what's going on? But before 30, from the ages of 14 or 15 to 30, I was a player. I knew the game. I didn't understand why it worked. Okay, I had women. At one time I had a wife. I had a steady girlfriend, a somewhat steady girlfriend, plus other girls. I had girls chasing me down on the highway, leaving notes on my cars. I mean, it was amazing. I didn't understand why it worked. But I was a typical bad boy. Started out riding Harley Davidsons, got in fights, had long hairs. I was a party guy. My vision was always first. And at that time, my vision was to be like the 2 guys on Easy Rider. And I became like that by the time I was 17 or 18. I was on a Harley. I went to parties. I fought. I drove all over the country. I had women all the time. I was admired by the high-class women, too. And I even used to wonder about that myself. Why do they want to be with me when they got Farmer Joe over here who's got a lot of land? He goes to church. He makes great money. His hair's cut short. He drinks a few beers once in a while. They were always asking her out, but they wanted to be with me. I mean, I went out with the most popular, good-looking girls in my area. Okay, so I did that till I was about 30. And then I kind of went through this stage where I didn't like the way I was living, and I threw the baby out with the bathwater. And then I tried to live and be good to girls and treat them the way that society said they wanted to be treated. The way the women, since the women's liberation in the 60s, started saying they wanted to be treated with respect, like a queen. Treat a woman like a queen, she'll treat you like a servant. Treat her like a star, she'll treat you like a fan. All these little sayings that have a lot of truth to them. So that's when I went through 3 divorces, lost everything twice, had to leave the country to keep from being arrested. That's a whole long story. Read the book. It'll be out in November. It was supposed to be out twice already, and the publisher delayed me twice. So, but it's going to be good. It comes out the end of November. We're working on the cover now. We're editing it. We're polishing it up, going through it. So I don't know the title yet. I'm working on that, but soon we will have it out, and that'll tell you what it's like to live a red pill life, as they call it now, and then to change over and live a blue pill life. And now I'm back to, I won't say it, now I'm back to living what they call a red pill life now. But fortunately for me, I had the skill of living that type of life. I just did not have the understanding of why that works so well until I read that book, Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi. He also has another book, Preventative Medicine. I read that one too. Great books. I recommend you read them if you're having trouble in your relationships. If your woman is starting to seem like she's bored with you or she doesn't want to have sex with you anymore, there's a reason why that's happening, and the reason is you. And that's the good news is you can only change you. And when you change you, she will either comply or she'll leave. Now, you have to be willing to allow her to leave, or you have to be willing to walk away. That is the one thing I've always maintained. Even when I was living the blue pill life, I was willing to walk away. It took me a while, but when you got 6 kids like that last marriage I had, I put up with a lot of crap trying to keep my kids and everything, but finally I had to walk away. And today I ended up with all my kids. The divorce cost me $700. That's it, $750. And she's been gone for 9 years. That's pretty damn fortunate. As compared to the divorce before that, where I had 2 kids, and one of them I adopted. I since learned that I guess that's being a cuck. But at the time, I didn't think I could have children. Actually, a doctor told me that I had a low sperm count. Well, 7 kids later, that wasn't the case. But so I even adopted him. That divorce cost me, God, I don't know, $250,000. Lost everything. Lost the house I live in now. I since bought it back and finished it off. And I lost another mansion, 6,000 square foot. It was an old one built by a riverboat captain on the Mississippi River, but I love these old houses. So lost all that. And I had to leave the country because they were going to arrest me here. I've since got that cleared up. I don't have a public record because of the woman and the accusations she made against me, which were false. Went to another country for 6 years. Had the same thing happen there. Until you learn what's going on, you're going to continue to make the same mistakes. Had the same thing happen there. Had to leave that country because she was trying to have me arrested. Left my kids. But like I said, read the book. It's an exciting story. I did not even realize how adventurous it was. People kept telling me I should write a book until I put it in the pages. And you can learn a lot from it of what not to do and what to do. So my reason for writing it was to be helpful, and I thought it would benefit people. And of course, I would like to benefit from it also. So look for the book, buy it, read it. I think you'll love it. All right, that's all I have for today. Remember, your boys are the future of wherever you live, America, England, Australia, China, Russia. Your children, they're going to be your legacy. What kind of a legacy are you going to leave? Think about that. When you leave here, people aren't going to remember much of anything you did, unless you're Napoleon or Alexander the Great. But I'm telling you what, who knows what your kids might become. Be a great man. Be a great man to your kids. And by being a great man to your kids, to do that, you need to be great yourself. And you are great. You're not being as great as you are capable of being. But it doesn't matter if I believe it. It's what you believe. You have to work on yourself, and the better you make yourself, your children will learn by your example. So you need to work on yourself. Don't come home and watch TV every night. Do something different. If you want something different, do something different. If you want what you've never had, you have to do what you've never done. If this has been of help to you, hit the like, smash that like button. Do it now. Subscribe, share this with a friend. If you want to get my help personally, Mark's Inspirational Guidance at gmail.com. Thanks for joining me. Be cool, man.